Right, one of the first jobs that we need to do is remove this steel bulkhead. We want to open up the van, create a bit more space in here. It's a medium wheelbase, so it'll make a huge difference when this comes out. Now there's a few bolts that are holding this in. We've got these Allen head bolts on the perimeter. There's 15 of those, which is a 5mm Allen key. So at a minimum what you'd need is an Allen key set, 5mm one of these, and then you'll be able to undo those. Some may be a bit rusty over the age of the vehicle, so you might find this hard going with these Allen keys. It might be difficult. So what I've got is an impact driver with a 5mm Allen bit in the end of it, and that's probably what I'll use because this will obviously get them out far easier. Then in addition to the 5mm Allen bolts that are around the perimeter, there's a couple of these tie downs at the bottom here. Now these are a Torx bit, which is like a little flower sort of pattern, and again you can get a Torx bit set like this. You can see there like a little flower pattern on the end. These are a T40 holding these in. Again, you can do it with these like Allen keys, but they may be hard work. So fortunately in my little bit set I've got a T40, so I can use the impact driver again with the Torx bit, and we should be able to get those out quite easily. And then lastly, in the centre here, there's a 13mm bolt with a hexagonal head. So it's either a basic 13mm spanner to try and undo that, or if you've got it available, a 13mm socket and a socket wrench will probably be the easier. You get a bit more leverage on that, and we'll get that out. Right, so they're the tools. So let's get cracking and get this out. What I'd suggest is leave this one in the middle at the top until last. That will keep it all secure and in place. It's not going to fall on top of you, and then work your way round and do that one last.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Change the bit for the Torx bit. Do these little hold down bolts. Oh, found a pound. Yoo-hoo. That's it. 13mm socket. And 20p. It must have fallen down the back of the seat. Take that £1.20 off the budget, Lou. That's it. Right. So now, the last one at the top. That should release the whole thing. There we go. that's it, bulkhead removed. And what we'll do is we'll take this down to the local recycling centre, put it in their metal bin. It won't cost you anything to get rid of this because it's metal, they can recycle it. One thing I wanted to do in this van is remove the headliner in the cab so that we've got better access to the overcab portion, because I want to properly insulate that with some closed cell foam. Two reasons: obviously it will stop any condensation forming above the cab and it will stop any damp and that. The closed cell foam is in itself a vapour barrier, and it's got a self-adhesive back on it, so I can just stick that to the profile of the roof and that'll insulate it and vapour barrier it all in one go. So to get better access right the way down to the front there, it's a little bit of a job, but I'm going to take the headliner out and then we can get in there really easy. Then there's quite a few bolts all the way around on these hold downs and sun visors that we need to undo in order to get that out. So it's a bit of a lengthy process, but let's get cracking. First thing to remove, there's two screws, Phillips screws on either side of this plastic trim. Just a normal screwdriver just to undo these screws. Small little self-tapping screw like that. Do two this side, two the other side, then we can remove the plastic clips. That's it. Holding this initial bit of plastic trim up is these little plastic clips, so it's handy to have a tool like these trim removal tools where you can get in there and just pop them off. They're quite tight. You just have to gradually work them out like that. They will come out eventually. A little tip, when you're taking stuff apart, they'll have loads of different types of screws. So at each stage, when you've got that little set of screws, take a photograph of it on your phone, write a little note on it that these are for this bit of trim, and then when you come to put it back together, you'll have all them pictures to refer to. The grab handle in the middle of the shelf is held on by these torque screws, the little flower pattern screws. So with either your impact driver or an Allen key, we'll just remove these two. There we go. Right, to get these little grab handles off on the side, there's this plastic trim pops out like that. Get a little flat bladed screwdriver in there. Just pop. And then inside those are the Torx head screws, but they're a long way in there, so use one of these Allen keys, reach down inside there and they should come undone. That one was quite easy. And I'll show you a little trick if they're really tight. I'll leave that one for a minute. What you can do, reach down with the Torx head screw and with a little ring spanner, slip that over the end of your Allen key, and then that gives you a little bit more leverage to turn that and undo that screw. These have got little washers on them, so don't lose the washers. There, like that. Okay. That's it. Now with the sun visors, they're held on with these Torx bits. So again, if they're a bit tight, that one's okay. Use the little spanner trick again to undo them if you need to. spanner on the Torx head. Oop, wrong way around. Oh, that's it. Just give you that little bit of extra leverage. To this one. That's it. And then just pull them forward because they've got that little lip there. See that, which is hooked onto the front of the metal of the cab. And then this one, once you've got the screw out, is actually held on by a plastic clip. So you need one of the trim removal tools. Give a bit of leverage, they are quite tight. So it's got one of these like little Christmas tree clips in there, you need to pull that out. Now with this central light console, I can see there's a screwdriver slot here and here, and what looks like somebody's already had this off, maybe to replace a bulb. So we'll just pop a screwdriver in there and just gently twist it just to tease that out. I can see the clips there. So that should, yeah, that should just pop out. There we go. Yeah, and sure enough, there's a couple of Torx head bolts just inside there. So flat bladed screwdriver in the top where those slots are, give it a little twist, that should come out quite easily. Undo the little clip. There we go. And then Torx head bit in here to remove the plastic. Go. Right, so that's all free at the front now. Could we just be careful of a few of these? These are alarm sensor wires, so we just make sure we don't damage those when we take it out. And then while we've got it all out, the headliner, it'll be the ideal opportunity for us to run the cables for the reversing camera. So we'll do that while the headliner's out before we put it all back. And then there's one last plastic trim clip in the centre here, which that needs to come out. Again, they're quite tight, some of these. If you do end up damaging them, you can find replacements for these on eBay fairly cheaply. That's all the nuts and bolts out to hold the headliner in. The last bit that holds it in place is the door rubber itself. So that just literally just pops off. So you give it a tug. It's only pushed on there. You only need to take this top bit off, just to about here. A couple of screws in there, nails rather. And just to about here, and then once we've got the headliner out, we can then temporarily just put that door rubber back for now. But this is all loose now, so right, that's everything out now, so this should be free to come out. There we go. In addition to the fabric headliner, the Ducatos and Relays and Boxers have this plastic parcel shelf above the headliner, so you can use that storage cubbyhole without deforming the headliner, I guess. For some odd reason, the person who had this van before us has cut this plastic shelf right the way through here, so we're actually going to have to find a second-hand one of these and source that and then put that back, because obviously there's no shelf in this location. So for now we'll just take it out. There's it looks like 4mm Allen bolts holding it to the structure of the van, so again it's just a case of undoing these little bolts and then this should all pull out. There would be 4 along this front edge holding this in. So holding this plastic shelf down, reach over the top and you can feel some little plastic nuts there, 10mm nuts, so 10mm socket on top of that nut, just like a little nylon nut, and the bolt will be captive in this, so you won't lose the bolt. There's the little nut there. So there's normally 3 nuts along the back here. That then releases the shelf, and then it's just plastic clips pushed over the edge of this metal edge at the front, so it just wants pulling back, and then that's it, out of the way, clear. So that's a fairly simple operation. Get that out. Now you can see that gives us great access to this overcab area. We can properly insulate this metal skin, and you can actually see there what the manufacturer has done in the way of sound deadening. That's obviously some kind of material they put on there to add some mass to this panel to make it a bit deader, to stop it resonating. So we won't need to do any additional soundproofing. We can just stick our closed cell foam insulation all over that cab roof, and then that'll prevent any condensation in future. And then we simply reverse the steps to put the headliner and the plastic shelf back. So to help you out, if you need to do this operation, we've numbered the order that we took the screws out in when we removed it, and Lou took some photographs of the bolts, and this was the order that they was removed in. So we started off with the courtesy light. Then there was a plastic trim at the back of the headliner, a combination of some screws and some plastic fittings to remove that. The centre grab handle, the left and right grab handles. Then we removed the sun visors, and then there was lastly just a centre clip on the headliner. The headliner then came out, and then that left just the plastic shelf. So there was 4 screws or bolts at the front holding it onto the metal at the front of the screen, and then there was these 3 nuts holding it onto the back. So all we need to do now is basically reverse this process. So start with these at number 9 and work our way back round, and the last things we'll fit is the centre light fitting. So I'll just freeze frame that there for you. You can pause the video if you need to, and that'll help you when you come to do this. Okay, so that covers the removal of the bulkhead and the headliner and the plastic shelf. I'm going to do these videos in individual tasks, just because if you want to look at a specific task, you don't necessarily want to look at something else. So I'm going to break them down into individual sections, and then they'll be clearly labelled and titled. They'll be in the sequence that the build was done, and hopefully by doing it that way, that'll help you. Now that the parcel shelf and the headliner are out, obviously we insulated the roof of the van, and I've got some really detailed information that I need to share with you regarding the insulation to the roof of the van, what insulation we've used and the reasons why we've used it. And I've got some facts and figures that I really want to share with you, which will hopefully also help you as well. So in the next video, we're going to be doing a little bit of science and some facts and figures on the insulation, why I've chose this particular insulation. I'm going to be showing you how we fitted it all, and then we're going to be putting the headliner back in. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, it's completely free, and then that way you'll get a notification when I upload the next video in this Fiat Ducato van build. I hope you're enjoying the series. Please do leave me a comment below. I love reading what you guys have got to say about the build. And don't forget, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. And then it's really a case of mitigating any condensation that's potentially going to build up above that cab area. Now with that stuck on there and that vapour barrier, that'll be nice and warm up there. There won't be any issues with condensation above the cab.